What's happening, my block buddies? This is Block Content. My name is Callum, and today we are joined by the very awesome Ryan. What's up, dude?
How we doing, Callum? Good to see you, man.
It's very awesome to have you here. I was actually over in LA visiting you not many months ago, and we had such an awesome time even playing some video games together. And I'm just very happy to have connected with you actually in person, and now we are over the internet waves again.
Yep, back at it as we met originally, so.
Definitely. So I'm very happy that you're here because we're going to talk a little bit Nintendo Switch. And what I thought would be very interesting is that, of course, we're going to get this presentation video on January 12th, and that's very exciting. But to me, what's even more exciting is hearing, your thoughts on, maybe your predictions on what could happen in that video. Are there things that Nintendo is keeping from us? Are there things that are still to be announced? What do you think is going to be talked about in that video? Because, the very obvious things are, of course, pricing and, the release date of the system itself, which is already being announced that they will kind of talk about those things. But I just thought maybe we'd make a top 5 list of the things that we think are going to happen or our predictions, and we just go at it like one by one. So let's start with number 5. Let's talk about your number 5 first. What is your Nintendo Switch prediction, number 5?
Totally. So I think we both are going to talk about bundles, but I'll specify mine a little bit more. For my number 5, we talk about how they've really talked a lot about their third-party involvement with their release, and I think a big part of it with their launch trailer, they definitely showed one of the parts where they were outside at a basketball court, but within their bundles, they are, I think for the first time, going to bundle to that market and mainly have a third-party bundle and offer that kind of option.
Interesting. Yeah, so I kind of agree with you. My 5 was a little bit different to that. I think they will reveal, bundles too. I think it's a very smart choice to, straight out of the gate say, hey, this console is coming at this date, but it's also coming in these kinds of bundles and this color and this, gigabyte. But I think that they might actually have the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild bundle, right? Because that, to me, is just
absolutely.
The easy choice. If you are going to launch with a mainline Zelda game, that is such a big deal for a console, just bundle that stuff. Because I can't really remember, did they do that for Twilight Princess for the Wii?
I cannot recall either.
I think they did. And it would be a smart choice to do it for Breath of the Wild because it will be a system seller, so why not just sell it with the system? To me, it just makes too much sense. Anyway, let's hear your number 4 then.
So they have a lot of different controller options in a different way. So a side comment, not necessarily what my number 4 is, but I thought about for the first time they showed that each side of the controllers that you can come off of the screen can be used as individual controllers themselves. So I think for the first time that means that actually they are launching the system with 2-player compatibility without having to buy an extra controller. And I think that's an interesting point to make. But as we also know, they are going to reveal a bunch of different accessories, including the Switch Pro controller. And that is the controller that obviously appeals most to PS4 and Xbox users, as it has a very similar design and it fits the shape of your hands in a similar way.
Nice. Okay, that's a very good prediction. My thoughts were pretty similar. I thought it would be a very smart move to introduce that you'll still be able to use some of your Wii products, actually, as optional controllers. And one in particular is not maybe a Wii product, but I thought maybe they'd touch on the Nintendo GameCube controller. I'll specify the reason why I think that in a later point, but to me, using old controllers and not having bought all this needless plastic for nothing. That's my point. So what's your number 3 then?
So number 3, we are going to kick it back to being a Nintendo brand. I think they're going to show their next launch in terms of Metroid. And I say that probably because just only recently I played through the Metroid Prime trilogy again that started all the way on the GameCube and then made its way onto the Wii. And I just really enjoyed it, and I thought that it was really cool the way the Wii Nunchuck worked with the Metroid first-person shooter, and I think that they have an opportunity with the Switch to take it to an even greater height, and I'd be interested to see what they have to show for that.
So are your thoughts then, will we be getting Metroid Prime 4, or maybe something entirely new? What specifically?
I think it'll be... I don't think it'll be a Prime. I do think it'll be like a new series kind of thing, but I think it'll have that similar type of feel So I guess it could be. But I thought that Prime was a storyline that pretty much ended after 3.
Awesome. Yeah, I kind of agree. I think that if they were to do a new Metroid, it's pretty weird to think about that because, Retro Studios is famous for making those Prime games, but also now doing the Donkey Kong Country, Returns games. And to me, it kind of feels like they need to move on to something new, right? They need to move on to either creating a new IP or, handling a different Nintendo IP for once. Maybe something Star Fox, even though it's a little bit early for that. So to me, it's kind of this weird feeling because I do want a new Metroid Prime game. I agree with you. That would be amazing because they are good and they are first person that works. But we might need something new, right? Even though, we really don't want it.
Well, I think it's interesting to note that, the big obvious thing that they were really going for is they are eliminating the Switch from handheld to home console market, and we've known that for a while. What this also means is the development for games. They're eliminating splitting those teams as well, and they are devoting it all to one project that can be held back and forth at its highest capabilities. What that also means is that they're eliminating one of their products as well. So that's kind of a double-edged sword. So I think they have to tackle that kind of market in terms of multiplayer, being able to play online with your friends at home, but then also on the go in real time. At the same time, it's like, can you imagine playing online with people that are like sitting on a bus while you're at home on your couch? It's like a different kind of feel.
Yeah, it has to be different. And to me, I haven't really thought about that. What if you play some sort of giant Splatoon-like multiplayer game, and you are on your couch with your giant television and the awesome HD, maybe 4K graphics, and I'm just chilling out on the train and also fighting you, and that'd be pretty crazy.
And you're in the same game at the same. That's never happened before.
No, I don't think it has. So yeah, my number 3 actually is I do think there will be a different launch game than only just Zelda. I think that it will launch with Pikmin 4 as a launch game.
I love it. I would love to see that happen too.
Yeah, to me, it kind of makes sense. Miyamoto has said that after the development of Pikmin 3 for the for the Wii U, after development was completed, they immediately started on Pikmin 4, and it was well on its way. And that won't be coming out for Wii U because that console is just dead now. I just, it's collecting dust as we speak, and only getting used for parties when people come over and, play a little game of whatever, Nintendo Land or Wii U Party or whatever. And to me, switching that over to Switch, switching to Switch, that'd make a lot of sense. And if that game was almost finished back then, for sure, it could be a launch title. So having Pikmin 4 as a launch title is kind of weird because if you also have Zelda, who's going to buy Pikmin, right? And on the other hand, it is your launch, right? And people mostly are not going to buy just one single game at launch. So people would be, if you release a Pikmin game randomly in the year, there's a big chance that you don't really get your audience. But if you release a Pikmin game at launch, you will get at least that small part of the audience that's like, well, better pick up Pikmin 2, get more value for just the console. If I'm done with Zelda, I'll at least have something else to play. So to me, Pikmin 4 seems like, a solid decision.
That's an interesting point to note because I'm thinking back to my Wii U when I purchased it. My incentive to buy my Wii U was bundled with Wind Waker HD. Okay. It also came with one extra free download, and my download was Pikmin 3 for the Wii U, and it came out to be one of my favorite games. So definitely a very similar situation.
Yeah, similar situation indeed.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious what your 2 is.
My 2 kind of goes across. So they made a big point on really kind of trying to cover up the fact that they missed out on saying that there will be a Zelda for Wii U, and obviously it was delayed, and now we know it's coming out for the Switch. But they've also made a point to say that it is also still coming out for the Wii U, which makes me think that the updates that we saw in the Switch trailer, and I say updates is the key word for Mario Kart, I also think the same thing can be said for Smash Brothers. I think it's going to be backwards compatible with the Wii U to be friendly as well with Switch. So I don't necessarily think it's going to be a separate title for the Mario Kart or the Smash Brothers series. I think that they are going to be online updates.
Oh wow. Okay, so you'll basically get this, general game that isn't necessarily a full package, but it will get updates over time. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, I think that found a way to kind of like streamline and update their games, and we've kind of seen that with Mario Kart over the time. It's like I kept on loving and going back and dusting off my Wii U just because when they added 200cc, it's like that added 3 months more game value to me. It became a whole different game. It really did. And to be able to take advantage of that online update with this brand new console that is both mobile friendly, you can take it with you on the go. Like, this again comes back to that point about not dividing your team for your development of your games anymore. Everything goes towards one game, towards one hardware.
I actually didn't think of that for this discussion, but that's a very smart point. Yeah, having games be their own platform is so cool. I could see that happening with Super Mario Maker. That could be a platform. I could see that happening with Smash Brothers, with Mario Kart.
That's like interactivity, the play with each other people, and like design. You're a game designer for other people. Like, oh, that's cool too. Yep.
Exactly. Well, very smart. Okay, my number 2 is that they will actually show gameplay footage of games that are not necessarily releasing at launch. So I think that maybe this Metroid that you were talking about, right? Maybe we'll see hints of gameplay about games not necessarily releasing right away, but actually far into the year, maybe in the winter of the year. Because I think that Nintendo needs a little bit more than, probably at launch. We're not going to get too much. Nintendo isn't really big on those launches. And I think that, maybe there will be a slight hint of that new Super Mario game that we've seen a hint about. It's already been confirmed by Miyamoto that it is not a launch game, that new Mario game. We reported on that, I think, yesterday, which made me quite sad. But they have to touch on that game. They have to say, hey, this is what the name of that Mario title is. This is what you'll be doing in the game. This is the sort of broad storyline or gimmick of that game. And then, they at least give us something, because that was such a cool clip. And if they don't touch upon that, even in that specific, preview direct, then I'll lose my mind completely.
Oh, man. Yeah, similar things. I think they're probably going to show a clip, because they did confirm that the Project Sonic Holiday 2017 is going to be Nintendo friendly as well. Nice. And you know what a Sonic fanatic I am, and as much as I would love to see there be some sort of Sonic bundle, maybe with Sonic Mania, I just don't see that happening with Nintendo Switch right now. But yeah, I feel definitely similar, and it's such a bummer that the Mario title is not a launch. So yeah, I think we're going to see even more games that are in development that are just not quite ready to be released with the hardware.
For sure, yeah. I think Sonic Mania is a very good point, because Nintendo, I think, knows this, that, Sonic Mania came at just the right time for Nintendo to swoop in and say, wait, but we got Switch, we want this game.
When you look at the picture of the third-party developers, like, immediately the first logo that jumps to my eyes, and I think a lot of kids' eyes who were maybe born in the 90s, is the Sega logo. And of course that resonates with Sonic. How could it not?
Of course. Very exciting, man. So let's have a little drum roll and get to number 1 for you, okay?
Mine is kind of a little bit of a bummer, but I think it kind of goes hand in hand with what's going on with Sony and Microsoft. But I think that with the home and mobile market, they will have to start charging for online access, or at least some sort of account that maybe would be a premium user. I do think that it's going to be split. I think they're going to offer different options. I don't know what that entails yet, but I think that's just another way to be more competitive with Sony and Microsoft. I think they have flipped the script already on always going the other way with hardware design, and they hit it with Wii, and then they backed off a little bit with Wii U, and now they I feel really hit it again with Switch, and I would really love to see it take off in a way that they come back on top with it. And I think a part of it starts with building up their revenue.
Smart. And I do think you're right. They have to have some sort of premium service, and I would actually be down for that. Maybe if all those updates for those games that you were talking about, maybe they come with that package. That would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
So you just update every game that you have if you have that monthly service.
I think it's something where you can integrate your Mii into it still, where They have this cool thing going on with the amiibo, and I think one of the other things that'll be kind of cool with an online interactive thing is I think you can actually, in the future, Nintendo will make it possible to make your own Mii amiibo, which I think some people already had, but I think that could be something they could expand upon with their online accounts.
Yeah, like
That makes
3D
it more-
printed or something.
Yeah, that makes it more customizable. It's just a thought. I think there have been crazier ideas, you know?
Awesome. Well, my point kind of goes along with that a little bit.
Oh yes,
Because
your number one,
my
sir.
number one. Let's do this. I'm gonna give myself a mini drum roll as well.
Do it.
Okay, that was it. My number one is they will show footage of the new Smash Brothers game. The announcement of Super Smash Switch, or whatever it will be called. I think at the very end of that presentation, we will get a tiny glimpse at the system-selling game Smash Brothers, but for the Switch. I think that this has to be a shoe-in, because this is just... There's been so much time in between, you know, the end of the development for the Smash Brothers game for Wii U, and I think that it just makes sense to at least, end the rumors and say, hey, there is an enhanced port or some sort of new version of Smash Wii U coming to Switch, and just show footage of at least, maybe one new character or a hint of only a logo or anything, but they have to do something with that franchise. To me, it feels like the perfect opportunity to start, to ignite the hype train for Smash Brothers again. And I think that if I have to make a prediction what kind of announcement that it will be, it will definitely be sort of a character announcement. And I think it's going to be a character that we all maybe have wanted for a very long time. Something along the lines of maybe Sora from Kingdom Hearts, or maybe something along those lines. I don't think a Geno from Mario RPGs would be that big of a hit, but I think a game that is widely talked about and a third party. So Sora with Kingdom Hearts 3, of course, on the horizon. That to me would make sense and would be very cool. It wouldn't be that big of a shock, and it wouldn't be as big as a Mega Man or a Sonic would be back in those days. But to me, it does make sense, and we already had Cloud, right? So I think Sora isn't that big of a leap.
No, and it's right next to it, so.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, hey, Ryan, I wanted to thank you so much for being on this discussion. It's very cool to have the chance.
Thank you for having me, man. It's great to be here.
And, everyone, thank you so much for watching. This was Blocked Content. Be sure to press that subscribe button, because we are almost at 1,000 subscribers, which is a very big deal for us. So if you are part of the family, you can be a part of that special tribe that can say, hey, I was there before the 1,000 subscribers.
Hit it.
Anyway... thank you guys so much for watching, and remember that we have this special Super Mario Maker goodie giveaway. So if you place a special comment under this video, a very unique one, you automatically are in the raffle for the Super Mario Maker goodie, which are magnets for on your fridge. Looks really cool. You can make your own levels. Anyway, this was Blocked Content Discussion with Ryan. Thank you so much, Ryan.
Have a good night, guys.
All right, see you guys later. Bye bye.